presentation on, oh, it's loading. Alex, why is it loading? Alex, Alex, my presentation, Alex, okay. Alex, what if I did a presentation on Power Rangers lore? Has everyone seen Power Rangers at least once? Yeah, Kanda hasn't. The friend I invited so heavily that she ran here has not seen Power Rangers. Great, awesome, let's begin. Alex, it's broken. Alex, I'm the last presenter. Come on, man. It just doesn't happen with anyone else. Okay, what is Power Rangers? Power Rangers is a TV series where usually teenagers, I say usually because sometimes they're adults and sometimes they're a little bit different in age, where teenagers are fighting to save the world. As Zordon says, he wants teenagers with attitude. First, Power Rangers started off as actually a series called Super Sentai. That started in Japan. In this photo right here, you can see that they have the same Ranger suits. This is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers down here with the original 5. They have the same suits, but you'll realize they're Japanese. Whoa! Super Sentai, Japanese. Here, they're mostly white with one Asian, one black person. Also, it's a comic book. Wow. Unfortunately, the comic book's not canon, but it does give a lot of lore that makes its way into the actual TV series itself. Bam. So who gets to be a Power Ranger? Power Rangers, it's kind of dependent on either the series or what the director wants, but usually either it picks you, you pick it, or sometimes it's both. Here's an example of sometimes it's both. This is Wes. He's the Red Time Force Ranger. The way Wes became a Time Force Ranger is that his great grandson from like 1,000 years in the future had that morpher that he's transformed into right now. The way that morpher works is that it needs to have your genetics to transform to a Power Ranger. So it just so happened that the team that he works with 1,000 years in the future went back to his time, and he just so happened to become the Red Time Force Ranger. Sometimes it's a lot less complicated than that. Most of the time it is. I just figured this would be a fun example of showing how it can be both, that it picks you and you can also pick it to be a Ranger. Rangers don't come in one flavor like this Red Ranger here. It comes in a team. It can come in a team of 3, like in our Ninja Storm Rangers here. You'll see the Red Ranger, the Blue Ranger, and the Yellow Ranger. And other times it'll come in a 5-team Ranger. Kabam! Whoa, explosion! These are the Samurai Rangers. There's red, there's the blue and the yellow. They also have a pink and a green Ranger. Wow. Once you become a Power Ranger, it's really up to you, and sometimes it's up to the power source, which we'll get into later, if you want to stay a Ranger or not. Here's some examples. Wes, the Red Time Force Ranger, he's basically like a time cop. He travels through time and he gets through people and he tries to arrest people that aren't in the right time. The next example we have are the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers. They're basically just rescue force in Ranger costume. The Pink Ranger, I believe, is a paramedic. The Green Ranger is a pilot. The Blue Ranger is I think he's a lifeguard. There you go. He's a lifeguard. The Yellow Ranger works in national parks. She's a big rock climber. That plays in the intro. I forget what the Red Ranger does. I think he's just the leader and he works with the actual Lightspeed Rescue Federation. I believe we have one more. These are the SPD Rangers. They are future cops. We kind of hate them because they're cops. Next slide. You'll realize that in the last slide, let me see if I can go back. We have more than 5 or more than 3. What's going on here? We have, oh, that's the wrong button. We also have extra Rangers. In the latest Power Rangers series, we actually have up to a team of 11 Power Rangers. I did not put that here because I hate that series. I think it's garbage. But all of these Rangers are still part of a color spectrum. So we have, obviously, the GOAT, the Green Ranger, Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. He was the first original 6th extra Ranger from the previous 5. Then we have the Solar Ranger from Mystic Force. I believe he is the first 6th Ranger, because Mystic Force also has like 7 or 8 Rangers in their team. We have the Quantum Ranger, also in red, part of the Time Force Rangers like Wes was, who I mentioned earlier. And we have the Titanium Ranger, the extra Lightspeed Rescue Ranger, who is right there. Wow, foreshadowing, how about that? Now, the big important thing is, how do the Rangers get their powers? enter the Morphin Grid. The Morphin Grid is actually just a separate universe which holds pretty much whatever the Rangers want it to. This is one example in Power Rangers Dino Charge, how the Morphin Grid looks like. I'm not sure how it got there. I think something happened, some instability, so they looked up into the sky and boom, it was there. In the comics, this is how they present it. This is Billy, the blue Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, and I don't know how, but he got stuck in the Morphin Grid for a split second. This is another representation. Here you can see all the different colors and all the shades. Obviously, you have like black, you have blue, you got green, you got yellow, and everything in between is also a Ranger color that can be possible. This is a nice little graphic showing, hey, there's a bunch of different Rangers with the power coming from the Morphin Grid. More importantly, we have the Morphers. This is the medium which Power Rangers use to transform into Power Rangers into their suited selves. These are a bunch of different Morphers. We have the Titanium Morpher here. We have the Quantum Morpher, the SPD Morpher. I'll name two more for the sake of time. The Ninja Storm Morpher right here, and the Power Ring, or Power Coin, sorry, from the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. These come in different flavors as well, so they don't just stay as Morphers. So obviously with the Power Ring, it was just something given to them, right? For other sources, we have the Dino Gems right here, which in this little GIF right here, you can see that the Dino Gems turn into the Morphers themselves. That's how the Dino Rangers get their powers and how they morph. The Quasar Sabers from Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, and the Quasar Saber itself transforms into the Quasar Morpher, which allows the Lost Ranger Galaxy Rangers to transform. So what powers do they have? Again, all the power comes from the Morphin Grid, and the Morphin Grid is just basically a really big unlimited dimension or alternate dimension energy source. Like I mentioned here, and if you've ever watched Power Rangers, the grid gives them access to martial arts skills, kind of like using a big storage network. So once they transform, and then after they transform, they deform, they actually keep all of that information stored within them for, I don't know how long. I think it's like forever, because once you're a Ranger, you're always a Ranger. Woo! It also gives you your weapons and your Zords, which I will show here. Right? These are the Time Force Rangers with all their weapons that they summon from somewhere. This is the Dragon Zord. And then it also gives you protection from sparks. You ever wonder why sparks are in there? It's because it's a force field protection that makes them pretty much invincible until after they transform. I put this little bit here because actually it can bring people from the dead. I didn't put it here, but someone dies in Power Rangers. They're stored as like a Power Ranger ghost in the Morphin Grid. And then somehow, some way, they gave up their powers like after the big bad was done and the series was over. And then they came back. Don't ask me. The in real life reason that she left is because she got pregnant and had a baby. Yeah. The Morphin Grid is not only for the good Rangers, unfortunately. It can also be for evil Rangers. Evil Rangers have the same powers as normal Rangers, and sometimes they're a little bit stronger. Sometimes they're like tweaked a little bit so that it can fight their counterparts a little bit more effectively. And the Morphin Grid connection stays the same. Here's some examples of our evil Rangers. These are the Psycho Rangers. You can see they look very menacing. Next up, we have actually these joined, or these are the Thunder Rangers from Ninja Storm. They actually joined the good Rangers. They were under the impression that the Ninja Storm Rangers killed their family or something. And then, do I have another example up here? Oops, that's a laser pointer. Tommy, again, the GOAT. He started out as an evil Ranger, and then he became a good Ranger. And then one more, we have Trent, the White Dino Thunder Ranger, who's arguably the hardest evil Ranger in the series. Oh, we also have the Titanium Ranger, the first American Ranger, actually, that was not imported from Super Sentai. I say Trent is one of the hardest Rangers because he actually fought a clone of himself. Sometimes in the grid, there can be some kind of instability, meaning that, do I have a slide? Okay, I'll use this slide and I'll come back to it. So the reason that we can have multiple Rangers is because we have different connections to the grid. I like to think about it as like different pools of water that you can take like water out of. So because this is a different pool, 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 we can have multiple teams at the same time, right? So what happens when you take water out of the same pool with the same cup? It's not supposed to work, right? That's just not how physics work. So what happens is that Trent fights his evil twin right here, and there's some grid instability. Trent was actually about to lose his powers. He had enough time for one last morph, and then he actually was able to beat his evil twin, and he became a full-fledged White Ranger. There's not a lot of lore to this, unfortunately, because we have different evil rangers, like I mentioned earlier, like the Psycho Rangers. They have their own little connection, and then all the other evil rangers just eventually became good rangers. And here's some Morphin examples. So let's see if this works. Nice. Okay, then they say their whole thing. We have more to go through. Here's another one. These are Turbo Rangers, different Ranger series. They go real fast. Boom. Nice, really cool, right? What's the next one? Oh, it's the Jungle Fury. They actually use glasses as their morphers. I think they're the only series to do this, and it's kind of weird. So we have, like I mentioned earlier, we have the main three right there. Then we have our extra 4 and 5 Rangers, right? And then finally we have our Samurai, right? Different morpher. They actually use them to make kanji. All these kanji can be used to make different things. Then we have our extra Ranger right here, the Gold Ranger. This one's really long. I don't know why. There to go. We also have some Ranger team ups. So in real life, I believe the series directors liked having collabs because they just called back to the other Rangers. This is actually my favorite team up sequence ever in Power Rangers. So let's watch it. No! Wait, Alex, can we skip to like the middle while we play this awesome opening? Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Right before the explosion. Go back a little bit. Right there. Go forward just a little bit. A little bit back. Wait. Okay, there you go. So this is a Ranger team up between the Dino Thunder Rangers and the Ninja Storm Rangers. Nice. I think I'm gonna get to that actually. I'm gonna get to the explosions. Here's a clip of the actual Psycho Rangers I mentioned fighting my favorite Ranger team, the Lost Galaxy Rangers, and the Power Rangers in space, called the Space Rangers. I had this on DVD, that's why I put it here. Those are the Space Rangers. Right after they morph, I want to point out something. Okay, so you notice that all the other Rangers are standing like off to the side somewhere over here, like if they were on screen. They're jumping from right here. How the fuck are they right there? You tell me, bro. Anyways, go Galactic. There you go. The Galactic Rangers are based off of space animals. That's their 6th Ranger. I don't think Space had a 6th Ranger, or if they did, he's not here. Yeah. Oh yeah, they had the Silver Ranger. More explosions. And then Alex, I think you might have to skip through this one again. Oh no, we're good. We're good. Forever Red. This is a team up with. I think this was the 10th series, so it's all 10 Red Rangers. Again, this is possible because they all have different morphers, right? They're not all trying to come from the same morpher like Tommy's using or that Jason's using. Nice. It's all the same numbers, by the way. Every single Space Ranger has the same number input. I can't do that. I tried. He's an extra ranger technically, but I don't know. He's here. He is red. Yeah, I'll explain it after. Yeah, yeah. So the Quantum Ranger is technically a Red Ranger, but he's like the sixth Ranger here. He's right. Where is he? He's right here. He's the sixth Ranger for the Time Force Rangers. I don't understand. I think we could have a whole Quantum team technically, but whatever. As Dylan asked, why did the explosions happen? Alex, if you could. There's an in-lore reason for this, and it's actually kind of hilarious. All right, that's the clip, Alex. It is. Let's go back. There you go. Yeah, Power Rangers RPM is a great series. It explains a lot of stuff, and RPM also comes from the goofiest Super Sentai series. But the director in America said, make it as serious as you possibly fucking can. Yeah, RPM. So back in real life, no longer in Ranger form. Oops, all right, not that one. This is the actual TV series timeline. It's usually split up into different ways. Like sometimes we have the Zordon series, which cuts off at space because Zordon's present in all four of these series. Uh, these are from the brand owners themselves. So the Saban series goes all the way from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers down to Wild Force. Disney comes from Ninja Storm all the way down to Power Rangers RPM. And then we turn to shit with Neo Sabans from Samurai, Super Samurai, Megaforce, Super Megaforce, Dino Charge, Super. Yeah, it's kind of shit. And then, yeah, then we have Super Ninja Steel after Ninja Steel. No Super Hyper Force. Yeah, it's just Hyper Force. I guess they saw it was stupid. And then we have Hasbro, which has Beast Morphers and Dino Fury. You'll never guess what's after Dino Fury. Who wants to guess? No, Cosmic Dino Fury. The only little thing I would say about this timeline is that Wild Force is like in the middle of Wild Force, they actually transferred over to Disney. So it's kind of like it has some Disney aspects, but Saban's kind of still running the show, but it's whatever. Normally, that would be the end of my presentation, but I would like to make a little tribute to the greatest Ranger, which is this guy, our Green Ranger right here. Our Green Ranger, his name is Tommy Oliver, or better known as Jason David Frank, his actual actor name. He's the only known multiple suited Ranger in the entire series. Mr. Tommy Oliver here was I'll go in order. He was the green Mighty Morphin Ranger. He was also the white Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. He was the red Zeo Ranger. He was the red Turbo Ranger. And he was also the black Dino Thunder Ranger. After Dino Thunder, he hadn't made an appearance until I think Super Megaforce, where he got his Master Morpher, which allowed him to actually access any of these forms at any time he wanted to, which is fucking awesome. It was so cool to see him like beat all of these Rangers again. Also speaking, the White Ranger and his two Red Ranger forms were team leaders for all of those teams. The only exception is that the Red Ranger for Turbo, he actually gave up because I think he just didn't want to be a Ranger anymore or something or the other like that. Sadly, as you can read in the last little bit right there, Jason David Frank died through suicide on November 19th, 2022. It was a really big and sad day for Power Rangers in general. He was known to be a really good mentor to not just like in lore Rangers himself, but also to all the actors and actresses that really looked up to him since he's been through so many Ranger timelines. But after that, now it's the end. Loading this little graphic of all the Rangers. Yeah. Questions? No? I plan to. I haven't because I'm in college. Any other questions?
I got a couple questions.
Yeah.
And one, what's the best Power Ranger?
Ooh, you want objectively or you want my favorite?
I want both.
Let's go back to, whoops, that's the wrong one. Let's go back to the timeline. My favorite is Lost Galaxy because I'm a huge like hard-on for swords.
Yeah.
And they're the way they morph is that they pull the Quasar sabers out of the stone like Excalibur. Objectively, the best like Power Rangers series is honestly RPM, just because it explains a lot of stuff in lore and it makes a lot of sense. And again, it came from the goofiest Super Sentai series all the way into the literally the best Power Ranger series. Not a lot of people paid attention to it, just because I think after they were like, how can it get better in Jungle Fury? Because Jungle Fury is pretty good, but RPM I think is probably the best.
Another question: what's the lore reason for the Red Power Ranger almost always being the lead? I always hated that one.
It's due. Oh, actually, that works. Residual energy. No, I think the in-lore reason is that the red power is the strongest.
I see.
I think you could maybe not quote me on that, but it also makes sense because only the red. I think starting from, can I find them up here? I don't see them. But starting with, I forget what series it was. But I think it might have been, if I can find Time Force. I've mentioned Time Force a lot. I think Time Force was the first series to get battleizers, meaning like a separate form just for battle by itself, and like a huge upgrade to it. He actually got 2 battleizers, and he only used one 3 times, and he never used the other one. So, but yeah, I think it's because the red power is like the strongest. Yeah.
I'll ask you one last question. What show has the best?
Ooh, tough. I think it might be Overdrive. I might be Overdrive. I'll give you 3 just because I really can't. Or I'll give you 1 from each thing.
Okay.
From Saban, I personally think it's Zeo because Mighty Morphin's a classic opening. And then Zeo, like, I was like, how can you get any better? And it starts with the choir up. It's like, Zeo call. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that's so good. But Disney, I'd have to probably go with either Ninja Storm or Mystic Force because Ninja Storm is just kind of iconic. And then Mystic Force, like, it got you like all into the spooky forest and all that. Yeah, and they had their own rap. Operation Overdrive also has their own rap, but Operation Overdrive was a stupid series. Neo Saban, they go through nostalgia like a motherfucker. It's just revamps of the Mighty Morphin theme. Same thing with Hasbro, so I'm not going to give any there. Questions? Anyone else? Mr. Brendan.
What's your favorite?
Dragon Sword.
Okay.
Great.
Sorry, second question.
No, Dragon Sword is just cool. Also, in lore, Dragon Zord is still underneath the ocean, just never to be touched again. It's that strong. Fuck yes, I did. If you ask my parents, from the years of 5 to 9, I had 4 different Power Ranger costumes. I believe one of them was the yellow Ninja Storm Ranger. One of them was an Operation Overdrive character. I can't remember. And then I think one of them was an SPD Ranger, and I reused Ninja Storm, I think. So, like, if we go in order, so Ninja, SPD, Overdrive. And I'm so sad because I used to have toys from the Disney era because it was really prevalent, and I don't have any of them anymore. Anyone else? No?
Go back to the next slide.
Yeah.
There's a ranger that I was confused.
Oops, wrong one.
About. We're not confused. The pink one on the top left under the knee, is that a bear?
No, it's just an AU.
Oh.
This is just some random thing I pull off the internet. Yeah. The more accurate one is like the very beginning slide that I had. I'll just put it back there. Come on. Lots of slides. Morphin Grid. Yep. Okay. Oh, imagine. Yeah, this is a little more accurate just because it has the actual Zords in the background as well. It's just not as many Rangers in the front. Anyone else? All right, thank you.